Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained Podcast and our edition about the Italian League. Nicola, Ronnie, and I, Bogdan. And so without any further ado, let's start with the semifinals in Italy and the enough is not enough final between Lube and Perugia for, I believe, for third time in a row. Lube beat Trento, 3 wins to 1. And with the exception of the first game where Trento succeeded in winning 3-2 as a guest, by the way, that's also an interesting thing to note. In the next three matches, Lube lost just one set, even though some of the sets were very equal. So I will now give the floor to Rone, and then of course to Nicole, because he is very sad now with all this happens with Trento. But let's give the floor to Ronnie, and the word is yours, Ronnie.
First of all, this is sports. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And prior to this series, Trentino for me had the slight advantage because what had been happening in the locker room with the sack of Ferdinando De Giorgi, the elimination from CF Champions League, and of course the two COVID cases that Leal and the Checo had. So with that being said, the first match was the best for me in every aspect because let's face it, it was the most interesting match in this series. I thought that Lube, after winning set 2 and 3, I believe, they will close it because they seem superior in some ways. But and this is my opinion. I know Nicola had his opinion. The Trento took the opportunity. They saw the opportunity when Usmani Juantorena had to be treated with I believe a little finger injury, and he went to the bench. Lube was winning by 3 points in the fourth set. So yeah, after that, Kovar, because Blengini didn't want to hear about Marlon Jan till the last game, Kovar make his entrance, and people expect that he performed like almost the Modena series, of course, and it didn't happen, especially because Riccardo Lucarelli was playing super, and maybe it wasn't the series of Nimir, but he was a good weapon on serving, and they had the help of Podrashkani and Lee Sinek, which are, of course, strong weapons in this team. And that's it, because the real problem with this squad of Trentino for me after that game was, first of all, Toto Rossini underperforming every let's say, not every, but in the last two games underperformed with reception. The Kooy Michieletto situation, first, I don't know why Lorenzetti didn't bring Michieletto earlier in the game, because Kooy, I believe he's on vacation since the end of the season. So yeah, that was for me the low point of Trentino, and of course the good serving of Lube Civitanova didn't help for the setting to Janelli for zone 2, especially Nimir, who was really bad in attacks percentage. And yeah, the first game where Trento win by a small differential, and then it happened what everyone didn't think it was possible. 2 games on Pala Trento, 3-0 for Lube Civitanova. Even if I am blind fan of Lube Civitanova, I really didn't think that would be possible, because the record of Trentino this season in Pala Trento, but we will have to make a stand ovation to Robertlandy Simon, who was the best player of this series, not only because he's such a strong force in the court, but the guy serve well, block well, and attack well, especially these last two games. So, and of course, the performance of the second game. So, yeah, 3-1 to Lube. Trento, for me, could have been do it better, but things like the entire season didn't go through with this Trento squad, who now have the opportunity to win his fourth Champions League in 3 weeks, I believe. So yeah, this is all for me.
Yeah, you basically said it all. I mean, at the end, it happened what we have predicted since the beginning of the season, that the final would have been Lube Perugia, and Lube, for me and for Bogdan, would be the team that will win the title. Trento played, as you said, the first game driven by the euphoria of the Champions League final just conquered against Perugia. And for those 4 points when Juan Torreña was out, they took advantage of it. But we also have to mention that in the previous set, Trento was down by 6-7 points just a couple of times. They were always able to get neck to neck until the end of the set. They eventually lost them, but I mean, they never give up that particular game. But game 2 was the game that decided the series. The only chance for Trento to have a shot for the final would have been carry on the momentum of game 1 and win game 2. And that was the way. Before the game, I was talking with my brother and I told him, if Trento win, they will have a chance to advance. If Lube win, the semi-final is over. And that's basically what happened. Trento had the chances to win the first set and flip the second after being down 30-20. They wasted it. Two vital counters error with Abdelaziz and with Lisenak in the second. And actually in the second, they always been a little bit unlucky because they were down 20-22. Abdelaziz was on fire from the service line and already found 3 sets. It was a lot of services in a row. They served very well. The reception of Lube was not on point. The ball went in the court of Trento and hit Michieletto on his foot. So the point went to Lube, and instead that being just 1 point behind, Lube went 3 points up. And you're right, Ronnie. Nobody probably expected Trento to give up two games, losing 3-0 on his home court. But we always have to mention that 4 of these sets were being decided by a breakpoint. There were 4 sets ending up 23-25. And in 2 of these sets, Trento reached the 23rd point before Lube. And then you see the difference between a team who's trying to make the next step, let's go like that, and a team of players which are really into this game since the past 5-4 years. I mean, the difference made by the play from Juan Torreña and Robertlandy Simon in those 2, let's call neck-to-neck sets that could have changed the outcome of game 2 especially. There were super class. There's nothing to do when you face a team like that, and in the crucial moment the players show their class. You just have to clap. And I mean, I don't even feel disappointed by those losses. They had the chance, Trent had the chance, they wasted. On the other side, the champions played like champions, and except for maybe Leal in the first game, then the entire team of Lube basically kept an high level all series long. It's not that I mean something that decided it, but 3 games won by Lube, 3 different MVPs. Once Leal, once Simon, once Torreña. Even if for me Simon should have been the MVP also the fourth
The
game.
last match, yeah.
Yeah, because it was unstoppable, as you say, on every phase of the game, whether it's blocking, attacking, or serving. And you really hit the point of what I thought about Trento. Abdelaziz had a terrible series in attacking. In 4 games, he never went above 40%. But to me, there are 3 reasons. First of all, the reception was not so good, and Giannelli had to run for all over the court, and the sets were not so good for Abdelaziz. Second, he was constantly double blocked by the Lube players, so he always had to face at least 2 opponents. And then, in my opinion, he felt like he had to do something more to get the point than was actually needed, and he made a lot of mistakes. So instead of trying good shots or to get a block out or something like that, he insists on hits that were very difficult, and they missed a lot of it. Michieletto is 19 years old. You can't expect him to carry on the attack. And he was the starter in the first 2 games. And then Lorenzetti tried with Kooy because Michieletto was struggling in reception and was so efficient in attacking. So he had to change something. It doesn't work, but at the end, really, I was more disappointed after the loss with Perugia in the Italian Cup. That loss is the loss that, as Dare, the Trento general manager, said, they met the goals that they had, the minimal goals, which was qualifying for the semi-final. They tried to get to the final. They could have done something more, but they faced, which is still the best team around. So there's nothing to be worried or ashamed.
You covered a lot of the topics I noted beforehand, but I would like to mention this Michieletto Kooy problem in a little bit more depth, because I believe that in the first episode of our Volleyball Explained podcast, the Italian edition, this was the pre-season podcast. We commented, as I can remember, that with Kooy and Lucarelli, Trento is going to have problems against the best teams because they are not that good in reception. Neither Kooy nor Lucarelli are receivers like for example Contorena, because Contorena can cover more than 1/3 of the court. This lack of problems, especially in the middle of the season, ends of 2020, beginning of 2021, was prevented due to the great shape of Michieletto. I believe when Trento beat Lube 3-0, one of the Italian commentators in Rai said something like, he receives good, he attacks good, he serves good. So he was in great shape, but now he is not. And Lorenzetti was trying all games long to find this balance between let's say, the better reception of Michieletto, because in principle it is better, and for sure the better attack of Kooy, because in this series the attack of Michieletto was a little bit soft, I believe that he wasn't able to do it, maybe because of the fact that when you're playing against the champions and they're playing on that high level like Lube played, you are not able even to find balance between 2 players. You need to have a player who is able to do both. And when Michieletto was in shape, he was able to do it. And when Kooy is in play, his reception in principle is not his strength. I remember a match between Bulgaria and Netherlands, and Kooy was still playing for Netherlands back then in 2015 European Championship, played in Bulgaria. It was a match of the group stage, and our head coach back then, Plamen Konstantinov, said to the players to float serve exactly at Kooy. So it doesn't matter left or his right side, exactly at him. And this means that according to stats, he's not just not a good receiver, but maybe a weak receiver as well. So I believe this was the biggest problems they received pretty bad, and then they were not able to compensate on a high ball like Lube did in several occasions. And of course, I'm totally in agreement with the statement that with the exception of Leao in the first and probably also in the fourth game, all other players were on a very high level almost for the whole four matches. Leon not Leon, of course. Simon for sure, the MVP of the whole series, but also Juan Torrena, of course. Hrilički played a great series. Fabio Balazzo maybe the best matches since he started playing as a regular in Lube. Also, of course, the Checo Anzani, all players, including those who started at the bench and then entered the game.
We also,
Yeah.
Let me say this. I tell you guys in the chat, in the group chat, that Simon now holds the record for most aces for a middle blocker in a season of Italy in every competition. This means Coppa Italia, Posto 5, playoff and regular season with 67 aces, passing Franz Gramborca and Alessandro Fei when they played as middle blockers. We, like everybody knows, these players switch positions, and after 2004, I believe I saw in Athens 2004 Fei playing as a middle blocker still, due to the fact that the mighty Sartoretti was still the opposite of Italian team. But yes, now Simon has this record, which by any means is not so important, but for him, after playing 5 seasons in Italy, he did it. So this is a remarkable thing to do, and with 33 years of age. So let's remember. I think when Fei and Gramborca did it, they were on his 20s or 28. So yeah. And other thing is the trust that Blengini had on Marlon Jan, because when Marlon entered, I thought, damn, now Trentino will win it all, because we all saw what Marlon did in the first game versus Modena. He wasn't really that great in reception, but he only made 2 errors, the same amount that Michieletto did in that match, 2 errors on reception. He didn't spike too much because, of course, the Checo don't trust a kid of 19 years old to carry on, but he made the decisive ace in set 2, opening the advantage. Doing a break point to win the set. And this is important, guys, because Michieletto and also Jan are appointed to be the future of this championship. I don't know if Jan, of course, will play a long time of his career in Italy, but this is probably, because he have the influence of his manager and, of course, the Cubans there. But we will be interesting to see these two players in the future. We all remember in the CEF podcast, like how those two panelists were talking about who is better. I don't like too much this discussion, because I know what Nicola think. Ronnie always say the Cubans are the best. The Cubans are the best. I'm joking most part of the time, but I'm proud as a Cuban to be part of this party of the Italian League volleyball. So yeah, Lube is in the final. Now let's comment on the second semifinal, which for me was pretty quiet. and I was expecting a little bit more resistance from Monza, but in the end, it is what it is. Monza is a normal team, and Perugia also taking out Leon is a normal team, but the Leon factor once again prevailed.
Let's make just a small break for a little advertisement in the podcast because our Volleyball Explained and not also Volleyball Explained fan David Gador from Poland, he published the book The Way of a Champion: Strength and Conditioning Guide for Volleyball Players. And if you're well into volleyball, I believe you are. For sure, if you are listening to our podcast, you can develop your fundamental knowledge on physical development in volleyball and physical exercises, which can, of course, improve your physical shape. And for only $9, you can buy the book The Way of a Champion: Strength and Conditioning Guide for Volleyball Players by David Gadua, and especially for the fans and followers of Volleyball Explained, with a promo code Volleyball Explained, you can use a 20% discount from the price of the ebook of David The Way of a Champion. So I will put the link in the description of the podcast, so you're able, if you like this idea and the concept of this book, to buy it and to learn more about physical knowledge in volleyball. And that was, we can now continue with Perugia and Monza. Like Ronnie said, easy for Perugia. I can admit that I wasn't able to watch a lot of the matches between the two teams. Most of the first match, but after that, not that many. I was concentrated, honestly, more in Trento and Lube, and 3 wins for Perugia, 3-2, 3-1, and 3-0. But the only thing I could say, and that's very strange for me, taking into account that they had 3 wins, is that this permanent rotation of opposites in Perugia carries on. Both Musai and Terhorst played in the first match. Only Terhorst played in the second match as a regular starter in the different sets, and both of them played also in the third match, which is totally ununderstandable for me.
Well, I think, sorry, Bojan, I think for Monza, they did a really great this season, you know, coming up as one of the candidates to take that 4th place from Modena, due to the fact that Modena didn't invest so much this season. And were them, Piacenza, Modena, you know, because of the name, we could think that they will probably step up, but it didn't happen. So they were the 4th place, and they will play CEF Cup, I believe, next season. I really didn't like the idea because, you know, if Trentino had the chance to play the previous phase round, why not them? But I know that this round was played because of the COVID, and to give more chances to teams to, you know, advertise his brands on Europe soil. So, you know,
the league wasn't over yet, so it wasn't also not so, I mean, correct to promote the teams directed from the Champions League and taking others out. Consider that Trento was still in the hunt for the past Champions League. I mean, when they stopped the Champions League last year, Trento was the quarterfinals, so they give the same opportunity to Yashembri and Dinamo.
Absolutely right, because I think Dinamo really deserves to be, well, after this season they will be in the next Champions League, and for this Monza team, it wasn't everything bad, you know. They gained the spot in the CEF. They probably could win the thing if the teams keep along. Now we have, for example, the news that Lanza went to play the playoff in France. So yeah, but resuming the series, we all know that when Lyon is on, they are still they are a few chances for a small team like Monza to keep to win even a set. Monza, it wasn't the Milano of the quarterfinal that surprised everyone by winning two games. Two? No, one game.
One
Sorry.
game one.
But I really expected more from this Monza team, especially Lagunziha. And Sabornok is being around in Italy for 4 years now, I believe. And it, it seemed like they are the next prospect, but at the same time they need something that I don't know what it is, but they fell short. So Perugia, of course, taking out Leon, they still have this problem who has been haunting them for the entire season, which mean the opposite, which is the opposite, I think. Musai, their horse, Atanasievich didn't play in the entire season. News coming from Perugia says that he will be ready. Come on, you are not ready for the entire season. You really think people believe that you will performing so well in the finals? This is for sure will be a problem for this team of Perugia if Leon has to carry on. But I really think that with the right mindset, they can still win again from Civitanova. But yes, I don't know, Nicola, if you saw any of those matches. Both of them were in the 11 Sport platform. The last one was in the Rai Sport, so it was even hard to watch those matches.
Yeah, I saw them, and I agree with both of you. It was basically a non-contest, and Perugia reached the final despite the performances not just of the opposite, but also from Plotnitsky that attacked very poorly in all of the three games. He never went above 30% either, just like Abdelaziz. But I want to underline two facts. That was the first semifinal in the history of Monza, and the first semifinal for many of those players who have never been there before. And you've seen, especially in the last game when Zavornok and Lagumzia underperformed, that I wouldn't say they lost before playing game 3, but they seems to approach the game with very few chances of motivation to win it. Yeah, Leon did the Leon things, but I also think that the other main factor was Sebastian Solé, who played a very good series. It was selected MVP in both game 3 and game 2. And also I had there's a player in Monza that have been around for decades, which is Thomas Beretta, the captain for Monza, and I was pretty happy to see him performing at a level that at his age he could still do some things. It blocked 5 times in game 2. Then it's not one of those middle blockers like Simon that every time he attacks could kill the opponent. So. But they had a good game, especially in game 2. The only game that was disputed was the first one, who ended 3-2. And Monza made a lot of mistakes in the set they've lost. They made 12 in the third set. And in the tiebreak, unfortunately for Monza, Lanza didn't repeat the performance he had in the decisive tiebreak in game 3 against Vibo in the quarterfinal. And it was the weak link for Monza who lost the game. But it looked like a warm-up for the final for Perugia, even if I think that they have very few chances against Lube.
And let me point really quick one thing, because you say these are players that was the first semifinal in the history of the organization, and there are some players that doesn't have, it's the first time they play at this stage. For me, I believe, of course, you have that argument, but we all not forget that this team has experienced players like Orduna, who has been ages in this league, Maxwell Holt. Maybe he is in the Maxwell Hall of Dynamo Moscow or Piacenza when Piacenza reached the final, but I mean, he's still relevant. It's a shame that he played almost the entire season injured. And you have Pipo Lanza. I know, he's not Juan Torena or a super oxide hitter, but the man has some experience. And then you have these two pieces. I believe they have they have been I don't know. They needed to prove something, like Lagoncilla, which for me is the rookie of the season, with all the with the with the excuse of Michieletto. But we are know that Michieletto didn't play the same amount of games that Lagoncilla played, and the Turkey men have really good matches between the top teams in the league. So, and for me, Saboronok still the weak link of this team, because if we talk about Lagunzia, is the first year in Italy. It's a new environment for him, and he did it well, for his age and for his experience. But Donovan has been in the league like 4 or 5 years in the same team. He has been he first started as a reserve and then way up to be one of the regular team. But come on, you have to prove something. This cannot be your top game. So at the age of 24 or 25, if you don't show more than this, it's pretty obvious that we have a situation here in the case of Donovan, which is a player that I really believe that could have been or can be something greater than playing in Monza. So yeah, that's a point that I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I was specifically talking about Lagumja and Zavornik when I talk about experience, because that was the two names that you brought out.
Oh,
and also Federici is the libero is the first. But when I said lack of experience, I was connecting with the topics you brought out about Lagumja and Zavornik.
Let's make a quick look at the ranking for the playoff for the fifth place. This so interesting and curious matches, which all of us follow very strictly. I believe that you are understanding my irony. 4 matches out of 7. If I'm not wrong, if I'm wrong, Nicola can correct me, but they will play seven matches. All the 8 teams one against each other. 4 of them have been played, and now Milano has 10 points, Piacenza 7, Cisterna 7 in 3rd place, Ravenna also 7, but on the 4th place, Verona 6, Modena 4, Padova, not Podena, Padova 4 points, and Vibo Valentia 3 points. Let's say that Vibo was the team with the best chances to be in the semifinals from all these 8 teams. They had a match point in the quarterfinal for qualifying for the semifinals against Monza, but they didn't do it, and now they are on the 8th place. And some of the most interesting results in this matches were the following: Cisterna, the team with only 2 wins for the whole regular season, against Vibo 3-0. Modena lost to Ravenna 2-3, and Padova beat also Vibo 3-0. Does this idea for a playoff for the fifth place with so many matches have any sense?
Of course, Nicola, please. First.
Yeah, no, I was getting that. Appunto, Cisterna winning twice in the regular season, and then twice in 4 games should give the perspective of what actually happened. Most of the teams are playing with the youngsters or resting their stars. Some of the stars that probably will go to the Olympics already left the teams. Russell, Jeske, and all of the North Americans, basically.
Grozer is also injured, I believe.
What?
Grozer
Yeah,
is also injured. Yeah.
Grozer is injured, so it's useful for those players who haven't played a lot during the season to show what they're capable of, and maybe to find a way to find a new contract for the next season in the same team, or maybe in another team. I think that Milano at the end will win it, because they already won the Challenge Cup this year, and they probably want to repeat and try to do it next year. And with all the problems that have been emerged in the past weeks in Piacenza, including the polo positivity to the anti-doping test, with meldonium. And then Baranovic, there was a scene at the end of the third set against Cisterna when Baranovic missed a couple of sets. It was subbed off, and then he argued with Fay on the bench. Fay, which is actually the general manager, the team manager, I don't know how to call it, for Piacenza. And the Musavi had to calm both down and almost to separate them. And Modena is playing with the kids, with Rinaldi, with Sanguinetti, and which was actually most of the fans of Modena were asking Gianni to do even before this tournament, because as you said, Ronnie, and as we all seen, the so-called veterans of Modena didn't play that well during the season, and I think that maybe one player that is actually having fun during this tournament is Sabbi, because of the 4 games played by Cisterna, he's been the best scorer in almost all of them, scoring more than 20 points. I think it's already had almost 100 in this tournament. So yeah, we'll see. It's more funny than interesting, in my opinion. But it's at the end, it's still volleyball, and we love it. So we will watch some of it.
In the end, I will ask you for 2 predictions. Firstly, who will win the league, Lube or Perugia?
Lube. And
Ronnie?
No, I wasn't present in the first podcast, but Lube for me.
I believe we are now anonymous, because I would say Lube too. And who will win the 5th place?
I think Milano at the end.
Milano, yes, because the experience, and they have been taking seriously this mini tournament, and I mean, I don't know how Nicola see this, but I have to say that this is a in between what's the name of this? Yeah,
Commas.
between commas, a disgrace or a bad displaying for this league to have this kind of tournament posto cinque. All this situation, all the Olympic Games player leaving. Come on, you are like the NBA of volleyball, and you have this like we have the main show, which is the finals, and you have behind the curtain all these clown matches between teams that are supposedly to be superior, like Modena. Come on, man. So I know that Modena doesn't want to play Challenge Cup. This is clear for me. Also, Piacenza doesn't want to play this tournament. They will invest hard next year. They will bring some key pieces to change for the old ones. And I believe starting from the beginning for the pre-season with the work of Bernardi, they can do some damage. And also we all know the situation in Modena. They will change almost the entire team, or at least the key players. The mystery will be who will be the opposite. Because if I have to see, I don't really remember the name of this dude, but come on, man.
Okay, again.
No, Bukager, no. Vettori. Once again, in a top team, underperforming like that, like showing one match and the entire season vanish. Someone is doing bad his job, but also I understand that because the problem with the Italians and foreigners, they need to do it. But I prefer to have two Italian middle blockers and the libero, of course, which is Grevenico, and this is a problem. So this thing of Modena, many people say it will be one of the best next season, but they will have some problems next season. And of course, the Valencia, who play absolutely really well this season. But like then the next one, they will renew all the team, so they also don't want to.
This is the new champion with Nishida.
It will be over, guys. No chances for the other teams.
I mean, the next season is decided. If Nishida goes to Vibo Valencia, the season is decided before it starts.
They will bring very strong power like Douglas Sousa, the Olympic champion that never played in the Olympics. Mauricio Borges, that dude play, but is like for me normal player. Flavio Gualberto, another Brazilian soul, and the most overrated player in planet Earth, Yuji Nishida. So you have a great combo to really fight well for fifth place, sixth place. So let's keep it real right here. This is quality content in this podcast. So
no political correctness here. Let's mention the schedule of the final between Lube and Perugia on the 14th of April. That means on Wednesday. They will play the first match in Pala Barton. The second match will be played on 18th of April in Eurosole Forum. Lube will be host. The third match is scheduled for 21st of April. And if needed, fourth and fifth match will be played on 24th and on 27th of April. That means that we're going to have our podcast for sure after the 21st of April, probably after 24th or even after 27th if we have a fifth match between Lube and Perugia, or it's more correct to say Perugia against Lube because Perugia was the winner of the regular season. Yeah. And also, as we discussed internally, the next podcast will include, of course, the final, our comment and summary of the final, but also the transfer rumors in the Italian league, and with that, not only the Italian league, because transfers, of course, can include some players who come or go abroad, like maybe Irvin Gapet, maybe Bednorsh, probably. I'm not sure for that, because he has a contract with Zenit Kazan for one more year, and Zenit failed in the Russian Championship this season, being outside of the top four. And maybe one of the interesting cases of Matej Kaziski, because I saw several different news from different sources that he will play in Piacenza, he will play in Perugia, he will play in Trento.
Play in Valencia with Nishida. Yeah. We all know that Matej and Nishida have history.
Yeah, they played together in
Nishida.
Yeah,
Okay.
in Japan.
Show you.
Yeah.
I'll show you how it's done here. So,
Yeah,
so
so it's
let's see. But Bogdan, before we end this podcast, really quick, a prediction of the finals. For me, Lube is the favorite, but this particularly first game will be crucial for the entire series because if Lube win, for me can be a 3-0, can be a 3-0. If they keep the momentum of the semifinal, even if Perugia is resting like 3 days more, I don't know. But if they win this first game in Palabarton, which is of course really hard to play, let's face it, even without public, it's over for me because I don't really think that if Leon and company spend an amount of effort and sees Lube winning at his home court, they will. I mean, I know for a fact that Leon will keep playing, but their teammates, like, come on. If Juan Torena keep pushing, if Simon is aggressive with the serve, of course, the entire team of Civitanova based his game on the serve because they are a physical team, more than a technical one. Because, come on, Juan Torena, Leal, there is not much technique like Mr. Goat, Jiva, maybe. So, so yeah, I don't know what Nicola thinks really quick and ending this.
I don't say there's no technique in what Torena does. I mean, I've been watching it live for the
I mean,
past...
comparing with Cisola, let's see, or another great Italian players in the past, or maybe
Papi.
don't know.
Papi is one of the
course.
most technical player ever seen.
Of course.
So
Comparing with Papi,
to compare it
Vujovic.
with everyone.
Vujovic also, I would say Vujovic.
Comparing with Vujovic, I mean, Juan Torena, I think, have this aura around him, which make him the leader in tight situations. But he's not the best receiving or passing, receiving, reception. But he's selective with his shots more than Leal, who for me also have a long diagonal to the other court, and that's it. Doesn't have that finesse. I mean, it's my opinion. Maybe Nicola has.
Yeah, it's not Kovacevic or Ngapet, just to say two of the most technical players at the moment. Yeah, definitely not. But I wouldn't say that they're not technical. That's what I was saying.
Oh, come on, but they are technical, but not that level of finesse.
Yeah, clearly. I completely agree with you. If Lube wins the first game, then they will swap the final. To me, I don't see how Perugia could actually. Perugia wasn't able to get Trento with the head under the water for an entire game, because both in the if we don't count the Coppa Italia semi-final, which happened more than a month ago, if we look at the two semi-finals in the Champions League, they weren't able to lead the entire game from start to beginning. And Lube shows against Trento, and against Trento because it's the last series they played, but all season long, basically they could always find a player or a moment or a situation to solve whatever problems. And we see the series. Ryklitsky played 3 games where he was the opposite on the court. So I don't give too many chances to Perugia. It could be a 3-1, but to me, it will never go to the fifth game.
There are 2 players I want to see closely. First of all, on Perugia side, Oleg Plotinski. I want to see what he can do in a final, because I think he never been in a final series. No. The last season ended for COVID. And in the Lube, Kamil Ryklitsky. who for me is my doubt, and he is always be the doubt of this team, because I don't really like the too much the style of Leal, but Leal is a proof player. You know, we all know that Leal have been winning titles in Brazil and in the first year with Lube, and now with the national teams of Brazil. So Rilitsky have to step up and be the champion he's supposed to be. Since day one, he went to Lube Civitanova, and they give them the opportunity to play as a starter. So these two men, let's follow them for at least for me, and the rest, it's on. So yeah, for from day 14, we will be watching, of course. Nicola will be watching from his big TV screen, and don't forget Cuban Spike. Like, this is a advertising for my platform. We'll be putting all the games via YouTube. So yeah, if you guys want to look the Italian final, that is a good place to do it. So yes, thank you, Bogdan, thank you, Nicola. You can continue.
Thank you all. You took my role, and yeah,
Yeah,
of course,
you caught out
yeah,
of guard.
yeah. Get out. Thank you again, and thank you to all the listeners for listening to the podcast again. As Ronnie said, you can follow and watch Cuban Spike in both Facebook and YouTube. Follow Pilore di Volley of Nicola in Facebook and Twitter. The only of three of us which is also in Twitter. And of course, subscribe to Volleyball Explained here in YouTube or in the audio podcast platform like Spotify and all the other. Thank you again for listening. And I hope that you're going also to do it the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.